Hey, what is up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's been a minute since last I've been here, but I found a solution to that problem, and it is talking about all the things that I enjoy. So, this episode, as you can see from the title, we have a Batman haul. So, for those who don't know, I've always really been into Batman. Story-wise, I think my knowledge is pretty basic, not going to lie. But when I was growing up, I don't know, Batman was, had, I think, a couple different cartoons. I was always watching that. I had Batman pajamas, even though they were made for boys. They didn't make any for girls, because, Batman's supposed to be boyish or whatever. I accepted my role as a tomboy when I was younger, so I'm like, I'm fine with that. So, I don't know, I just grew up really enjoying Batman. I got into the DC Comics app, I don't know how many years ago, and I purchased some comics on there about Batman. Court of the Owls, very, very good art. But that's besides the point. So, since, I have all this history with Batman to prove my loyalty, I wanted to show you guys this isn't even the first thing that I've got that's Batman related. I had a ton of toys that were Batman related, but this is the only one that I currently still own. So starting off, this is a Tumbler, and it's got that vintage dust on there, so you can really pause for 1 second. I am so disappointed in myself. Before I even created this video, or before I was filming this video, I was looking at the Batmobile, and I actually had started dusting it off because it was pretty dusty. And I was like, man, that's a lot of dust. What could be a good Batman joke there? And it's like, bat dust. Freaking, there's a lot of bat dust on the Batmobile. I'm like, whatever, get a little chuckle out of it. And I forgot to say it during the video, so I apologize. But just imagine that I said bat dust and how amateurishly funny that is. You can really appreciate the different textures of the dust and stuff. But this is actually a really cool toy. It did come with a Batman figure that you could put inside. Don't know where he is. He might be taking care of Alfred, I don't know. But you can open this up and see what's going on inside. And it also did light up back when the batteries still worked. And it had little bullets that you can shoot. How would you shoot the bullets? Doesn't look like there's any guns or anything. Well, bam! It had little pop out shoulder thingies like it did in the Dark Knight trilogy. So, I don't know. It's a cool little toy. I enjoy it. So now moving on to the actual Batman haul. The reason why I started collecting more stuff recently is because there's supposed to be, rumor has it, there's supposed to be a Batman game that we didn't know until recently that is probably going to be announced in August. And then we have the Batman movie. Don't know when that's going to come out, the newer one. But yeah, I'm excited for both of those things. I need more Batman in my life. And so I wanted to fix that problem immediately by getting myself a Funko Pop. Now, for those who don't know, Funko Pops are like bobbleheads, except sometimes the heads bobble, sometimes they don't. This one does not, and I don't know, it's not my preferred Batman, but this was one of the cheaper options, honestly, and it's one that I have a connection to, so I'm like, yeah, I'll go with this one. Now, before I get into this, I do have to say, on Amazon's part, I don't know what happened here. The box is torn. If this was a collector's item, which it could be, if I hold on to this forever and I didn't open it, I did already have it open because it was on my desk for a week or so. A couple weeks, actually. But, come on, Amazon. You cannot send, things with the box torn. Actually, the box is torn in multiple places now. I'm looking at it. It's besides the point. And then, so I open it up, I'm like, oh well, box is torn, probably gonna throw this away anyway. Oh, also, it's the 80 years Batman anniversary edition. Why is it focusing on that poster? Focus on, hello? It is the 80 years Batman edition, or Batman anniversary. It's part of that. Specifically, the Batman, 1997 movie, which if you haven't seen that one, and you enjoy Batman, I would recommend it. It is a odd rendition of Batman. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Mr. Freeze. And so it goes quite how you imagine, you know. Mr. Freeze is usually like, Nora, I will save you by putting you on ice or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Arnold's like, Nora, get in the chopper. So, you know, it's hard to get Arnold out of your head. But I'll have to rewatch that movie and see, like, if his performance is actually decent. But we take this bad boy out. And I notice, I'm like, the paint job on this Funko Pop looks a little bit sloppy. And once again, if this is a collector's item, you know, you want it to be in the best condition possible, especially, you know, if I wanted to like resell it and like get some money out of it or something, which I'm probably not going to do that. But if I wanted to, I would be screwed. But anyway, this is a cool Batman. I don't think Batman ever wears this suit ever again, to my knowledge. And I'm kind of glad, because it is a weird looking suit. But this was the start of something new on my desk of the first Batman decoration. So moving on to the next thing I have, I'm actually gonna skip what I purchased next because I'm gonna say that for last. But the next thing I got is something that you guys might appreciate. So even if you don't like Batman but you're into tech, they actually have a Batman v Superman tech manual. Now, I have some conflicting feelings about this Batman movie in particular. I did not realize that Batman was going to start killing people. So when he ran over like the first couple guys, I'm like, wow, Batman's really being reckless. Like, why would he do that? You know, he knows he's injuring people. And then I think he like shot someone, and the Batmobile, like, it has projectiles throughout the different iterations of Batman, but it never really had like bullets. And it looked like it was shooting bullets. I'm like, I think Batman's killing people now. So that was kind of shocking. An interesting movie experience for sure. But I actually haven't looked into this book. So this will be our first time, you and I, looking into it. Just a few pages though, because I don't want to get sued. Like, you should have my whole book. So this one, I'll actually show this off. This is the like table of contents page. But it has a picture of the Batmobile that's in Batman v Superman. And I believe it is just called the Batmobile. I looked it up before I started recording. And it seems like the only Batmobile that has like an alternative name that I know of is the Tumbler. So that's interesting. Then here's another picture of the Batmobile, which is actually a pretty sick Batmobile, besides the fact that it kills people, but you know. Oh, and then we have Batman's like armored up suit. That's pretty cool. Like an Iron Batman situation. And it goes into detail with the Batmobile. Let's see. It's the Batmobile, the Batwing, Batman's arsenal, his suits, and the Batcave. And also what's in his utility belt. And a little bit of Superman stuff too. So even if you have mixed feelings about this movie, you can appreciate all the details and stuff that goes into it. Especially if you're a film buff, like I am starting to become myself. So the last item that I have that is a part of the 80 years anniversary edition of Batman stuff is a Lego set. Now, I know some people who are not fun and don't appreciate the simple things in life might be wondering, what the focus on me, camera? They might be wondering, like, oh my god, like, why would you get a freaking Lego set? Aren't you like 20-something years old? Yes, you are correct. I am 20-something years old. But that does not mean I can't appreciate Legos, you know? Especially like those Pro Builder builds that they see, like the one in there's one in Orlando that I think I've had in a previous vlog with like the dragon coming out of the water, and there's one of like Buzz and Woody in the Lego shop in Orlando. Like, those are just freaking cool, man. Those are freaking cool. It's like being an architect but with Legos. And although I don't want to be an architect, I think building something from the ground up and just like using your imagination to create something is super cool. In this case, I won't be using my imagination, but seeing this go from like well, not a billion, let's see, I think it's like 300 something pieces. Yeah, 342 pieces into a freaking Batmobile with Batman and Joker duking it out. I think that's pretty cool. So for the like podcast section of this video, instead of having my face yammering on and on, I decided to switch it up a little bit, and I'm gonna have a video of me putting this together so you can see the final result. So if you want to see that and you don't want to hear me talk for like a little bit, then you can just skip to the end, although I would appreciate it if you would watch, because I want to talk about some interesting topics with you guys, especially since, you know, video content is hard to come by with all the pandemic and stuff happening and not being able to go out. So without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so I quickly realized that I don't really have enough footage to kind of like go into a deep topic. So we're just going to talk about, you know, Lego, Batman, and my experience with all of this. So I kind of started off this, I guess, short montage by showing out the box art before getting into the build. The build itself was around an hour-ish, give or take. I did not take any breaks. That was like a straight through build. And I think it was fairly enjoyable. My back was hurting a little bit from this chair, which is, you know, not Lego's fault. Can't blame them for that. My one thing that I would like to change, or actually there's a couple things. First thing, I don't know if you can see the manual very well, but they have, they'll show you like what pieces need to be used in each step, but they won't show you where those pieces need to go. So in some cases where you have like a super large build, I could see this becoming a problem, especially if you can't tell like what's new and what's old. So my suggestion, and something I think would be really useful for them to implement, is kind of have like the older build stuff look somewhat transparent, or make it so you can identify the pieces that you're supposed to be adding versus the pieces that have already been added. That way there's less confusion, and I can finish the build a little bit more quickly, because sometimes I was just leaning over at the manual like, I know I need these pieces, but I don't know where they're supposed to go. So that's note number one. Note number two, which is more specific to the build, is you'll see later on in the video, but Batman's, I guess, Batmobile door, or yeah, I guess it's a door of some sort. It comes off pretty easily, and I actually went into my closet and grabbed a 1x4 Lego piece to put on top of the windshield so that the door wouldn't come off as easily, but it could only do so much. So I wish that part of the design would have been changed a little bit. I don't know, because if you're playing with it, if you're a kid, you're probably going to be taking Batman in and out of it pretty frequently, so having to like rebuild that section over and over again can be a little bit annoying. But otherwise, I would say this was a really, really cool build. It does have a few extra pieces, mainly just some Batman logo, Batarang stuff. So that's pretty cool. You can use it on future builds. And here we have the finished product, looking pretty nice if I do say so myself. Whoever built that must be a Lego genius. So since the other products I've kind of already talked about and there's not too much to add to it, I kind of wanted to talk about my experience with Lego, just in general, and how it kind of connects to my YouTube journey, strangely enough. So I started off watching YouTube probably 2008 to 2009-ish, maybe. And there was a channel that I used to like frequently watch almost all the time. I think it was probably the only channel that I was watching, which would be Forest Fire 101, I think it was. And basically that channel produced a lot of Lego animations and Lego stop motion videos. And I thought those were really cool that he was able to like take these things that were from both Lego sets and sets that he created himself and kind of turn it into like a mini movie, or in some cases like pretty close to short film and even maybe full feature movies. I'm 100% sure on that one, but I know it definitely got close to the short film length. So that kind of inspired me and my brother to create a Lego movie of our own. So we got this tape recorder, which I'm not sure if I've shown in a vlog before. I made a video and ended up scrapping it where I was using it. I'll probably redo that one again because I really want to show you guys this camera. But it records on, I'm not sure if it's called a cassette tape or if that's something different, but it records on tape and on SD card, and we only had like tapes at the time, so we recorded all of our stuff on tapes. And I'm not sure where a lot of the tapes are. The first Lego movie is definitely gone, but we ended up making 2, so I can show you guys some footage from the second one before I ended up re-recording over it. So maybe that'll be something to look into for a future video. But yeah, that kind of like sparked my creativity into making like stuff. Just, I don't know, just trying to make cool videos and stuff. And we weren't writing scripts at the time. We were kind of just like recording our playtime basically, and you know, like improving it. But I don't know, it's just crazy to think about how it kind of inspired me to get into stuff like this. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for you guys. Just some quick notes here at the end. Funko Pop, once again, I think was painted a little bit sloppy. And I have not gotten into the tech manual fully yet, but that will be something for another video because I'm thinking about doing maybe a little art project. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see ya in the next video.